You might have another guy, you might have Tony down the road where you don't really know Tony, and Tony I get the cheap price, but at what cost? I mean, in a sense where the risk. Because you don't know Tony. You don't even know if Tony is a feds. Because in this world, a lot of them are feds.
Welcome back, my peeps, to Left Turn Chronicles. I am Jay Lee, your host, and today we continue our journey with Phoenix. If you haven't checked out the previous episodes, please take a listen and get caught up.
Bolt said it the best. You have to retire when you're on top. That's the best time. Because, if you don't, eventually, I mean, there are going to be other people that come out that are much faster and much better than him. So why not retire when you're on top? But a few do it and a lot don't.
Yeah.
And that is a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And it is really that I don't know if you call it greed or whatever, but it is that cash calling. Just keep calling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
enough is never enough, when you have money and then money equal to power, and power in itself is a feeling that nobody wants to give up. Nobody wants to feel powerless. And I wanted to ask you, your lifestyle obviously started to change when you started to get a little bit of money in your hands, right? Or as your finances increase. How did it reflect in your daily life or the lifestyle that you were building? How was that reflected?
Well, I tell you what, the thing is, I didn't really change that much at first. I mean, a few things. Of course, I'd, buy more clothes and buy it, but it didn't change drastically because in the early part, as I say, with these first runs and all of that, I really wanted to build up and get to a point where I was at a better place where I could make more money. So that really was my goal. So my whole thing was just to pay bills and to try and expand in any way and stack that money so I could get to the level that I wanted to get to. So, I did go out, and, you'd go out on the weekends and you have fun and all that stuff, but it wasn't really a crazy type of living. No, it didn't change that quick. You know what I mean? It was very, so I was just all about building, trying to get to, but of course, a lot of ideas started to pop in my head. Friends would come around, and of course, you sit down and you talk to them and you bounce ideas and you try to make connections and you try to do this and say how it can be bigger and better. That was the main goal. That was my thing. So
yeah.
Yep.
Now, is that world very big or is it small? And I'm asking from a novice's standpoint because I don't know anything about this world, but I am very curious about it as a writer. It's always fascinating to me how these things come together behind the scenes, right? So was it a very small, insulated world where only if you know type thing, or you can only go to like a few people to say, well, me need this, that, or I want to do this, that?
No, well, listen, it's a large, huge world out there. There's a lot of people involved in it. right? And you can get your stuff from a lot of people. But it just depends, as I tell you, on who you want to take the chance with.
Okay.
Because as I said, you can go anywhere, you can go into any town and you can and say, you know, you're setting up or you want to buy or you want to sell or whatever it is. But then you might have those that oppose you, those that don't like you coming in there, or those that who are greedy and don't want to see you succeed, or who might just want to rob you. And then you can go to the reason why a lot of people stay amongst their own in this world is because of the safety issue. So if you know guys that you grew up with, or family of people that you grew up with, or friends that you had from a long time, and they might have a cousin involved, and say, okay, let me call my cousin, or let me call this person, or you know, or this is Jeff. I'm gonna deal with Jeff from how long. You can talk to him, and you get a personal introduction and all that. Then you're going to work with Jeff because Jeff come recommended.
Okay.
You understand? So you might have Jeff that might be price might be a little bit higher and all of that. And you might have another guy, you might have Tony down the road where you don't really know Tony, and Tony will get the cheap price, but at what cost? I mean, in a sense where the risk. Because you don't know Tony. You don't even know if Tony is the feds. Because in this world, a lot of them are feds. And I say feds, like not only the real feds, but they are working with the feds. So they might have gotten busted and got put out back on the road to work for the feds to bring in more people. To get more people arrested or to build a bigger case. Yeah. You know what I mean? So why would you take that chance with you're going to go with the original person that was recommended? Because you see, that's what I said. There's a lot tied into the whole background and the whole planning of this thing. Because another reason also why you deal with people that you might know family of them or you know where they're coming from and all that is because if one of them do get busted, you're going to hear. It's just like, say, somebody from your community. You know what I mean? You're going to hear say, oh, you know, say them did lock up Tony last week. For what? For this, then you know, say, okay, Tony kind of hot right now. We're not deal with Tony. Because you don't know what Tony went in and said or you don't know. But if you come as a stranger and deal with that stranger out there, you don't know if that guy just coming out of jail or just got locked up. True. Because they will lock them up and let them back out immediately if these snitches will say, oh yeah, I can give you somebody bigger. Or yeah, I know somebody coming to buy a big amount. And you get caught up and you get indicted and you get set up in a whole trap. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why guys stick to people that they know, or their family know, people that they're familiar with, or people that they can get information about. Got you. You know what I mean? You're dealing with somebody where you know where them auntie live and them mother live and all of this. So then more than likely that person is not really going to try and rob you. Because if push comes to shove, you know exactly where to go. True that. Okay. And that is putting them in harm. So this is what I'm saying. It's calculated moves. You have to know what you're dealing with. Whereas if you're going to deal with a stranger, yeah, you might get it 1 or 2 times and then decide to say, I'll rob you. And so now who do you turn to? You don't know this guy. You don't know when family. You don't know anything. So it's a very, you know, it's calculated moves. It's chess game. That's why I tell you, it is very stressful. People think that it is an easy thing, and there's nobody, only people with like really big corporations and everything that really understand the stress. Oh God, yeah. And what it involves, and everything is riding. Yeah. On your next move. Not only your cash flow, but your freedom, your life, everything is riding on your next move going right.
Mm-hmm. And that brings me to your family. Now, you mentioned that your cousin, like when you came to Florida and your cousin moved to the apartment where you moved to, did he know about it? And how did that go?
He figured it out. He knew that, but he was not involved. He stayed to himself, and I didn't really bring it around him. I really didn't like be storing stuff at the apartment and all of that stuff. No. Because that is another thing to where I never, that's a rule that I have to never store where you actually live. There have been cases where 1 and 2 times you have to make an exception. You might have to drop off something, but by the next day or so you try to get it out of there. But you don't store and sell from where you live. You know what I mean? Don't ever do that.
Okay.
So yeah, so he was not involved and not in any danger.
Okay.
Such because the people that used to come around and all that were people that very close friends and you know, people that I knew well. As I said, I know their family, they know my family.
Okay.
Kind of thing, yeah.
So I know you said that, and I absolutely have always thought this to be true, that people who are heads of drug organizations are deeply vested into selling drugs, are making sure that they get from one place to the next. They're extremely smart. They're extremely smart, and they're always one step ahead. They always have to think one step ahead. Yeah. So what are some of the rules that you, as you went along, you realized, okay, if me do X, Y, Z, me know said that I go this, so me always I go do this. Like, what were some of the rules that you abided by to make sure, say, okay, you need to you'll get to the place where you want to get to?
Boy, that is I would have to say, like, just basically living my life every day involves all of those decisions. Like, you know, you don't show off, don't what we call floss on nobody. There are a lot of people that are like that, and especially all these new kids now. They're so stupid and dumb. These guys that are on the videos throwing champagne and burning money and all that crap, like, just so stupid. You know what I mean? That you're basically saying, hey, look at me. You know what I mean? Like, I remember never even wanting to buy a Rolex or to buy, not that they couldn't buy it, just didn't want to. It's a bit too flashy. Was a bit too flashy. No big chains, and I mean you have nice jewelry, but nothing
right, like a bullseye,
you know, extravagant. No, so you just, you know. I remember I had some vehicles that I used to drive around, and you'd never believe it. Like, I had a Sentra, Nissan Sentra, old Sentra. And I had a Camry at one point, and a Honda Civic, just regular cars. You know, and these cars sometimes were full of drugs, but it's just a regular car. I'm not I'm not drawing the attention to myself.
Right.
Like, hey, you know, when I go on the highway or I go on the road, why should I have a cop looking at me just because of what I'm driving? You know, it's putting extra attention. So you try to do that. You try to be fair. You have to be fair. You have to be fair. Although sometimes it's very hard to be. And sometimes people put you in a position where you cannot be fair with them. But you have to try and be fair. you know, because I am one that believes in karma. I believe in karma. I definitely believe that whatever. And sometimes I wonder, like, is this why things happen sometimes around me? Because I've known to, you know, go on the dirty road sometimes, and then I know as like I'm expecting a return on this investment. It doesn't know so something is going to happen. But sometimes that's just the road you have to take. You have to. You have to. You have to make. You can't be soft in this game.
Yeah.
You have to make tough decisions. You know, have to make tough decisions. So, yeah, it is. There are several rules that you really have to follow and all that, and you know, you do that, you and don't ever be too greedy. It's not every pan that you must jump. You know, I mean, because you're going to hear about great deals going on and this going on and oh, maybe this connection and this and that, and sometimes it's good to just walk away, just leave it alone.
True.
You know, you're not desperate, you just leave it alone. Yeah. So
you have to be a even-keeled person, and you also have to think realistically and sensibly. Think ahead, you know, keep a low profile.
Yes.
Ooh, one more question. Where it comes to females, like if you're dating somebody, how in the heck do you figure out we can't trust her? We can't trust her? Like, were you dating anybody like on earlier?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell, you know, you can feel the energy, you can feel the vibes, you can, you know, and if too much questions and want to know this and want to know that, and you can know when somebody knows something and they show you their concern. In different, they're not like, what you doing or what they're more like, hey, just be careful with whatever you're doing, or like you can tell the way people would talk to you and the conversations that they have. Who really cares and who know what's going on. They kind of turn a blind eye, they know what's going on, but they care about you. So you can of course you can tell the ones that are there just for the ride, just for the fun and the money and the going out and all of that stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You can tell the difference.
Okay.
You can tell the difference.
So you definitely have to have a discerning type spirit. You have to be able to, without saying much, you have to be able to take in a whole lot or discern a whole lot. So
yeah, it is. As I said, it's, boy, I tell you, you know, it you know, you always hear people say, you know, like, why them never take that talent there and do something good with it, or why never that's kind of the situation with drug dealers. Like if they had the opportunity to run companies the way them run them, be successful companies. Yeah. You know, extremely successful. Yep. But risky life. Risky life.
Yeah, and very stressful because, man, if your heart must have been strong, because, Lord, just taking them trips from Florida all the way to New York, man, that's a lot of stress. But I'm glad that you're no longer in that life and you can now give us kind of fast forward view of it, you know?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So
that's the whole thing. A lot of people, so this is why I'm giving a breakdown behind the scenes to really, for people to understand. You know, because people just think it is an easy, glamorous world, and especially, and you have ones out there that are thinking of going into it, but you know, I would not recommend it at all.
Yep. Do not.
Been there and done that. I would not recommend it.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
All right. So on that note, I want you guys to stay tuned for the next episode of Left Turn Chronicles. People, be safe, and we'll see you for the next episode. All right.